Well, I promised to talk about some of the odd occurrences that happened in Kentucky. Anyway, I don't remember these things in chronological order, so I may be going back and forth in this. I hate doing that. I really like to, speak about these things in a linear fashion. Of course, the first odd occurrence was the way that Richard spoke to the Spirit, and the Spirit spoke through him. Richard was what you would call a, I'll think of it in a minute. These people who have spirits, they come through them. I just thought he was crazy at first, honestly. He is crazy, or he was. He's dead now. None of you are watching number 17. Nobody. 17 is about Richard. Part 17 is about Richard. And it's probably the most interesting one that I've done recently. You might want to check it out. I have links on number 17 about Richard, about everything that happened to him after I left the hill. Trust me, any kind of protection he had from Jehovah, and it was Jehovah, was gone by the time I left. I'm going to talk about an incident that happened in the summertime. It was probably I'd probably been there a year. Now, Richard would love to talk about all the things he did, all the things he could do. Trust me, you take pride in your powers will be. Anyways, I know that I was being sidelined. It became more and more apparent to me over the time I was there. Well, this day, as Harold was giving the sermon, it was about faith, generally. And Harold said it was a hot, sweltering day. He said, all you'd have to do is call upon God for a nice, cool breeze, and He'll give it to you. General, ordinary sermon at first. And then he started almost picking on me. I got tired of Richard constantly saying what he could do and how he could prove himself and how the Spirit works through him, blah, 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 blah. So, Harold starts asking me, just me, Wayne, would you like to see a nice cool breeze? And I said, sure, Harold, sure. I would like to see a nice cool breeze. Harold raises his arms up while he's doing this. And he's talking. I mean, he had his arms up for probably, I'm going to say almost 10 minutes talking. He says, Wayne, would you like to see a barn-busting wind? I said, sure, Harold. I'd like to see that. And he kept pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. He pissed me off. And I said, yes, Harold. I would love to see a barn-busting win. Like, in other words, prove yourself. Shit or get off the pot. Well, Harold continued with the sermon for a while. Then we prayed. The whole time he's got his arms up like this. The whole time. And after we prayed, he put his arms down. So Harold's got his arms up, and he puts them down after he prays. The breeze starts picking up. And it gets worse and worse. And I'm talking within a minute. This was a barn-busting wind. I'd say 80 miles per hour. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but not by much. So much that we had some little scooters. I was afraid they were going to get knocked over. I was afraid that the trailers were going to get knocked over. The wind was so strong it was rocking the trailers and the buses. Everybody scattered, including Richard. I think it's very smart to go jump into a bus when you got a wind that strong. We're very bright people. Me, I stood out in it. I stayed out in it. I walked to the edge of the hill right before it dips down and looked into this wind, straight into it. And I said, God, please spare us. So I knew he was angry. And he said to me, I am not angry with you. And I said, for the sake of one, God, please spare us. After I said that, the wind gently died down and stopped. Now, for the longest time, of course, everybody on the hill thought of Richard as being the one who did this. But of course it wasn't. There was another incident with the wind up there where it happened earlier than this. Like I said, I'm going to have to go back and forth because I forget. I hadn't even been there 90 days yet, I don't think. I was having a tremendous problem one day, several days, with, well, an entity that called it. I had been having problems with an entity that called himself Satan. Listen, I've had people or entities coming to what they termed up on the hill my door for some time. A long, long time. This was towards the end of my 90 days, I believe. First 90 days there. Well, I eventually asked Rob to pray for me. He laid his hands on me and he prayed, drive this thing away. Well, it left, and as soon as it did, we had like a pop-up thunderstorm. Summertime. Well, we all I ran into Rob's bus because I was right outside his bus, and I mean, this thing hit just like that. The things I've seen, and I have to spend countless time talking to people who are either too blind, blind. The Bible puts it correctly. There are none so blind as those who will not see. I have come into this world as a destroyer, to destroy the Christian constructs in the human mind, the religious constructs in the human mind. That's first. When they refuse to listen, immediate destruction comes. I have power and authority that is beyond measure. I do not take pride in it, nor should any of you who have power and authority, because if you do, it will be taken from you. My authority comes from the Spirit. It comes from her. The Holy Spirit is female. The Christ knew who she was. That's why he called her the Comforter. Folks, when you were a kid and you skinned your knee or you hurt yourself, you didn't go running into your house screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, come comfort me." You went to your mom. The Comforter, the Holy Spirit, is female. And her name in Greek is Sophia.